You're welcome back. It's still Wake Up Nigeria. Get up and hit that goal. Now, that sounds like I'm talking fitness. No, it's a detailed and practical book that explains what goals are and what you should know before writing something and describing it as a goal. The book was written by Fola Daniel Adelesi, who is a professional public speaker, a life coach, and a management consultant. And I've got him here. How are you doing today, Fola?
Doing very well. Good to see you.
Great. This book, Get Up and Hit the Goal.
Yeah.
Wow. So what inspired this book? You're talking about goals and all. What inspired it?
The first thing that inspired it was that over the years, I realized people say they set goals and the goals don't seem to be working or they can't hit the goal. And then some other people set resolutions at the beginning of every year. And maybe 4 weeks into the year, they drop their resolution. So
4 weeks or 4 hours?
Maybe. Okay, I'm being magnanimous. So let's just say about a week or so into the year, they are dropping the goals already. So people also ask me to facilitate trainings on goal setting. And I use a particular illustration. So just picture a situation where maybe the son of the richest man in the world wants to marry you. And you're a little obese. You've been struggling with weight loss. And this gentleman says, I want to marry you, but I'd like you shed some weight in 2 weeks.
Is love not supposed to encompass all?
No, let's just, it's a scenario.
Okay,
so let's just say, he says, I like everything about you, but I'd like you to be fit, shed some weight in 2 weeks, and then I'll marry you. You realize that all of a sudden, the weight loss, there's something that just fires you on. So it dawned on me that one of the reasons we don't achieve our goals is actually the motivation. So then the other reason we don't seem to be achieving our goals is because we don't seem to have a clear vision.
Which is very important.
Which is very important. So if you don't have a vision, what exactly are you setting goals for? That's the first thing you should sort.
True.
So when you have sorted your vision, you can then come back to setting goals.
Now, Fola Daniel, you have 28 reasons why goals fail, as well as 7 elements of goals.
Yes.
Now, when you talk about reasons goals fail, if we're to kind of like summarize this 28 into like 4 important things that you must know, what 4 important things would you point out?
Number 1, lack of vision. If you don't have a vision, you can't set a goal effectively. And the reason is this. I say that a goal is a smaller component of a vision. So if the vision is very clear to you, you understand that this goal is a step in line with the vision I'm trying to achieve. So for example, I want to inspire people's productivity. And for me to inspire people's productivity, I have to write consistently. I have to speak consistently. I need time off to think. What exactly are the challenges people... If I don't do that, if I don't follow those goals, I won't be able to achieve that vision of inspiring people's productivity. So it's the vision that makes it easier. That's the propellant for the goals. So
vision first.
Vision first. No written goals.
No written goals.
Yes, there was a research done in Harvard, and they found that these are postgraduate students. 87% of the postgraduate students had no vision or no clear written goals. Then 13% of them actually had an idea of what they wanted to do, but it wasn't written. Only 3% had clear and written goals.
So it's important to have a vision.
It's very important
and then you write it down.
You know, because 10 years later, they interviewed these people, and they found out that the people who didn't have a vision and didn't write it down, they were just there. They were just struggling and just managing to survive. And then the people who had an idea of what they wanted to do, they were earning double the amount of those who had no vision. And find out what? Oh, guess what? The 3% that had a clear written vision,
they were Mark Zuckerberg.
They were earning 10 times more.
10 times?
10 times
than the average person.
Because when you write things down, you know there's what they call a checklist.
Yes.
You're able to say, okay, I've done this, I've done this. And then you see where you're standing, you see where you're supposed to go, or what you're supposed to do next. So writing it down, you sort of reinforce that goal to yourself.
Wow. So number 3?
Number 3 would be to have what I call the collaborators.
Collaborators?
Yes, you need collaborators. There's no way. Sometimes, you know, people tell you, oh, Nigerian situation, you can't get things done if you don't know people. It's not a Nigerian situation. That's how life works.
Worldwide. True.
If you don't know anybody, you don't, some people also say that your net worth is a function of your network. So it's very important to have collaborators to be able to achieve your goals. Now, if I tell people my major illustration on that is if you want to make a first class or say a 2-1 on the list, what are you supposed to be doing? From day one, if you spend 2 hours reading daily, before the examination date, it will be very easy to remember all that you've been reading.
Wow.
But to achieve that, you need people who also have a similar goal, who will always remind you that it's not, we're not going parties.
We have to study.
We have to study. So if you don't have those kind of people around you, you will never achieve your goal. So it means that there must be people who have similar goals.
Now, just before you tell me the fourth most important, this daily thing reminded me of something I saw, I think in page 31 of your book.
Okay.
Yeah, where you said you set a goal to write 365 articles in a year. And you pulled it off. Like,
yes.
Who does that? We're not talking about reading, like getting to read at least 365 pages of a book, but writing 365 articles.
Let me tell you what motivated me. First of all, I thought about those who were doing daily devotionals. And I asked myself, how are these guys doing it? If they can do 365, because a daily devotional, which is for a whole year, would have 365 articles. So I said to myself, if they can do it, then it means that I'm just not being disciplined enough. I had to face it. I told myself, Fola, you're not disciplined enough to write. This is something you can do. So why are you not getting to it? And then I said to myself, I must do it. So I wake up every morning. But what I did to make it easier was that I would take notes. For example, topics will fly in my head. I would write down the topics. Sometimes I would use my
back
phone.
To number two of what you wrote.
So I would write the topics and all that. So as soon as I get, and sometimes I spend maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or even days thinking about the topic. So as soon as I get to my desk, I start writing. And guess what happened? Over the years, it takes me less than 20 minutes to write articles of 1,500 words.
Over the years, like less than?
Because I kept writing consistently. I kept writing straight to my computer. So now when I get on my computer, I need less than 20 minutes to write an article of 1,000 words, 1,500 words.
Fantastic.
Because I was doing it over and over and over again.
So let's talk about number 4 before I point out something else I saw in your book.
Okay, let me say that the fourth thing is perseverance.
Perseverance.
Most of us lack that. When something doesn't work, you're quick to jump out. When something looks like it's tough or you're not getting the results immediately, you want to jump out. Nigerians start a business, it's not working, you dump it. You meet an average Nigerian who runs a business. They've probably tried 4 or 5 things, and they're not even 30 years old.
I'm just going to cover my face now. Okay.
So you need that perseverance. And guess what? We'll now come back to number 1. The reason you'll be able to persevere is because there's a clear vision. If there is no vision, there's nothing to persevere. So the vision must be clear.
Now, your 28th goal, you said inadequate or no resources at all.
Absolutely.
And then on page 62, you talked about 2 of the richest people in the world today, Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg. 2 people who had just ideas, no money. Because an average person watching us right now will go,
where do I get the money?
Just talking. Where is the money? Yeah. So you're talking about inadequate resources. So how can I achieve my goals when I don't have an uncle that can give me $1 million to start a business?
One of my mentors said to me that if 2 people who actually have experience and money come together, the person with the money will go on with experience, the person with experience will go on with the money.
That's deep. The person with the money
goes on with the experience.
Goes on with the experience.
The person with the experience goes on with the money.
Because you use your money to buy experience. You lose, you make mistakes. Wow.
This was actually Reverend Sam Adeyemi who said that. Now, what happens is you must know one thing. Sometimes when I talk to some of my colleagues, I say to them, you cannot have money and still be dull at the same time. So if you don't have money, you must be sharp enough to know what to say. So one of the things young people don't know how to do is to come up with solid proposals. I can tell you that proposals work. I've tried it a couple of times. I've gone to people, I've presented stuff that they had no idea they wanted to do, and they accepted to do it. So one thing you must do if you don't have money is look for somebody who needs what you have. come up with a very beautiful proposition. And sometimes, unfortunately, in Nigeria, what we call proposals, it's not a proposal.
What is it then?
You come up with an idea, you say, oh, this is what I can do, this is what I like to do, this is what this thing will do for me. You're not offering something to the person.
Yes, you must always give.
You must
receive.
make an offer to the person. If you're not making any offer to the person, it's not a proposal. So if you don't have resources, you must be able to come up with a solid proposal. And I can tell you, if you have a solid... Mark Zuckerberg actually got partners through proposals. Bill Gates got partners and funding through proposals. Most businesses of the world, Adebayo Ogunlesi, who owns Gatwick Airport and a few other airports in the UK, how did he do it? Proposals. Sometimes they tell you this person is the richest. This person has this money. On paper or in the bank account, the money is not there.
True, is the worth, yeah.
And
This
how did they get to
worth.
that level?
Yeah.
It's just proposals. So you must be able to offer something that seems irresistible to that person in order to get what you want.
Wow, I wish I could keep up with this, hitting our goals and all, but we've hit the goal of when to